Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanny and Clarkey visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, how are we?
All the better for seeing your faces.
Well, that's lovely.
Wasn't that cute?
Yes.
Likewise, right back at you.
Oh, there you go.
And Swanny, what have you been up to? You're on the go today, I feel.
Oh, I have been on the go. Oh, I don't know, just jobs. But like I saw my personal trainer very early, and then I did Pilates, and then I
went and
worked
had
on
a
my
Sauv
story.
Blanc somewhere.
No, not at all. Then I got a note to say that my boys have got a dinner dance on Saturday night, and their suits are supposed to be picked up tomorrow, but they could be picked up today. So I raced out across town and got there, and I came back, and I've just been getting, I don't know, we're getting ready to go away on holidays next week.
Yeah.
And then there's quite a few things going on with my kids at school, so just busy, but nothing taxing. Just same. What about you guys? What's been happening?
Not much for me.
How's your recovery going?
Well, all right. I've been walking a little bit.
Wow.
Yes, and I think I've been impatient. I probably overdid it a bit for the first couple of days. And then today I actually went down to the office and did a bit of work that needed to be done and had lunch with someone. And it was the first kind of time I have been out of the house on my own. It was liberating.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So how many weeks is that?
7. Yeah.
It's quite a while, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's gone quickly for me anyway.
For me too. Mind you, I also had a holiday in there, and I've done quite a few things since then. So yeah, it's quite a substantial period of time.
Oh yeah, no, it's been fine, but I'm glad I'm not walking without a limp. It'll be a while before I do that. And boys?
Oh, same old, same old. Don't really have much to report about our lives. But I do have something to share with you.
Yes.
Because just before we got on camera, I checked the ABC News and this little gem popped up. Cambodia says 310,000 suspected scammers left country amid crackdown.
Oh, good.
Where'd they
That's
go?
a lot of scam. Yeah, exactly.
It
right.
is a lot. But are these all the people who've been stuck in limbo because they got their passports taken off them and they're forced into a call centre Swanny and I?
It can absolutely be that. But so then Amnesty International has found that a high-profile crackdown on scams in Cambodia bypassed almost 2/3 of the operations the NGO had identified and failed to protect trafficking victims.
Oh, well, no, that's not good then. They just chucked everyone out.
But rest assured, the Cambodian government has rejected the report saying more than 250 operations had been targeted.
Okay. Well,
let's go with that.
It's all
then.
because of our, scamming episodes. That's what drew a big international light on
I
it.
know those 20 influential listeners that we have
They
really
are,
made a difference. So thank you.
That's all you need. So thank you. That's right. So all we need is 20 influential listeners and we're sweet.
Yeah. That's
All
our
right.
sweet spot.
I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanny.
And I'm Clarkey. And together we are
Trial by Wine.
And what are we drinking?
I just cracked open my first DC of the day.
I can't believe it's your first.
No, I'm a liar. Coke Zero, my mistake.
Still, I can't believe it's your first when you've done Pilates and you've had a chat with your
All
PT.
that
I was holding
all that
off.
exercise.
I was holding
and all
off.
that activewear, yeah.
I know, activewear. I know. I felt a bit bad. I was just letting someone in the front door and I was like, they must think, God, doesn't this woman get changed? But it was just something I didn't have time for today.
I've spent 7 weeks in pajamas. I don't know what you're bothered by.
Yeah.
Normally I get into pajamas the moment I can. Other people give me a lot of shit about that too. But
No,
anyway,
I live
it's
in
just
them.
my
What
At
they'd
home,
say
I
is,
live in
does
them.
she ever stop?
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
It's this late in the day and she's still active.
Is she
That's
one of those
right.
things go when they say, oh, she's busy being busy, which is just a backhanded way of saying, oh, she's making stuff for her, keep her days full.
Filling her
Anyway.
days.
Yes.
I'd love to fill my days. And currently I am because I am, just hanging out.
Yeah.
But the more I do it, the more I think I could retire. If I had money, I could retire. I wouldn't be bored. I'd be fine.
I could retire.
Although, said with such a tone.
yeah.
Right. So Stewie's moving us on. What are we
Yeah.
drinking? You're drinking the Red Claw.
We're on the Red Claw. We're having
Right.
wine. We're going a
Oh.
little bit crazy.
You're going back
and
into
Try
thought
white
we'd-
wine, going back to the roots.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
exactly
Good, well
right.
done.
Yeah.
Well,
From the
I'm
peninsula.
also going a little bit crazy, not on the wine, but I've been off significant drugs for a while now, so I'm having a Baileys. It's wintry enough, I reckon, for me to have a bit
Winter
of the old
warmer.
whiskey cream. Not too much of it.
It's even been cold over here. We've had that, like, I think it was like 3 degrees or something this
Oof,
morning because it's been
that's
very
cold.
clear, which is cold for Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it's cold, and like the floor's cold. I mean, everything's cold.
It's actually
so
not that cold here, ironically.
That's good.
I was saying to the boys, we've had it, it's been overcast, and so it's been about 16 and it's still quite mild. And you know, did I tell you I'm having a wood heater installed?
Yeah,
That's
man.
happening
Yes, on the
this
back
week.
deck.
Oh,
Yes.
in the conservatory.
Very
Yes,
nice.
so that's happening this week. But not that I'm praying that it gets freezing cold, so the wood heater seems to pay for itself. But I'm looking forward to the ambience that I'm creating out there. Hopefully, it
That's
won't be
very
a
nice.
house fire. It'll just be a
Oh.
contained fire.
Hope it doesn't
Yeah.
overheat things and fall through the deck.
It shouldn't. I've got a 32 mil hearth that I've made, and remember, it's
Great.
a pedestal, so it's not like the heat is directly on it. There's about a foot before the actual hot box. Yeah, it's on a pedestal. Anyway, yes, here's hoping I don't
Schmitty's
cook
gonna
through our
have a
deck.
hot box.
I am. Did I tell you the story of when I burnt? Well, I say I, but Tony and I burnt his deck in
see,
Ascot
Tony had a
Vale.
birthday. Happy birthday, Tony.
Tony did have a
Yeah.
birthday yesterday. Yes, grand old age of 77.
Jeepers.
I know he's nearly 80. Anyway,
Oh my God, he looks good for his age.
yeah, I know. Marrying me, it's keeping him young.
It's all that
Or
walking
something.
soccer.
It's all that walking the dog. He does running soccer now. His heart's better because of
Whoa.
the,
That's
the
good.
thing. So he's back to doing some running soccer and he prefers it. He's much happier with that. So
That's
he's doing
very
both.
good.
Anyway, I was going to say, did I tell you the story about the time that we burnt through the deck at his place in Ascot Vale?
No.
No.
We had we had
Whoops.
a it was a whoops. We had a couple of pavers down, not a concrete sheet, and we had a little chimney out there. And I had some friends over, had a fire, had a lovely time. It was great. And then sometime later, days later, I went out and I moved it and I found that we had burned a hole through the timber decking. Luckily, it didn't go further. So before we left, I had to cut it all away and replace the decking and sand it all off and fix it. But yeah, all done, all fine. So crisis averted.
Wow.
Anyway, I suppose someone should tell us a story. Who's going to do that?
I've got a story.
Excellent.
Oh, yay.
I've
Go
got
for
a
it.
story. It's a cracker, I think. Anyway.
Okay.
Although
Oh, we like
it's
a
kind
cracker.
of it's kind of a little bit topical. So I'm hoping by the time anybody actually
Listens to this.
listens to this, it might not be quite as well on Netflix. Put it that way. That's where I found it. But I found it really quite remarkable.
Okay.
Okay, so my sources, obviously, Netflix to start with, and the name of the documentary I watched was called Maternal Instinct. I also use time.com, theguardian.com, Wikipedia. That's about it because I'm kind of really just, what was that, sorry?
I was going to say, that all sounds very sedate. You know, we've
It is
got
a bit.
maternal
like
instinct
real,
and
like
a whole
what-
lot of nondescript.
Exactly. And I'm kind of,
On purpose leaving out the names of articles
well, yes
and stuff?
and no.
or-
Yes, no, it's more a case of there's not a great deal of mystery to this. It is all
But
Oh,
also-
in
what
your
has happened is
face.
very much in the public domain. So in terms of looking at different articles and stuff, they're all kind of repeating the same kind of thing anyway.
Yeah, but like Time is a pretty
Yeah,
impressive
highbrow.
publication.
It's-
Like
it's- it's an
they're
important
highbrow
case.
sources, I
It's
think.
an
It's
important
also wholesome.
Well, this
I
is
don't
not
know about
wholesome,
that.
and I think
No, but that's
think
what I mean.
this
To this point, it all
episode
sounds.
Maternal
probably come
instinct
with
sounds
a-
bad.
yes,
Yep.
probably come with a trigger warning.
Oh,
Maybe, well, probably particularly for pregnant women. Anyway,
Okay.
Yes.
Infanticide?
no,
No?
maternal
no.
instinct.
yes.
That
All
sounds
right,
terrible.
so-
Right. Okay. Buckle up.
I'm reluctant to sort of direct you to it in a way. But I watched this documentary, and to be honest, the first bit I was like, oh yeah, good give or take. This feels like a number of different stories we've done in the past, similar things coming up about, deceit and, mistrust and whatever else, and people lying basically. But at the end,
fundamentals of crime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But at one point I realized I had stopped breathing and there was like total silence around me. And I went, oh my God, I was actually sitting on the floor, but it was that kind of on the edge of your seat kind of moment where I went, oh my God, I've kind of stopped breathing. This has really got me. Like when it really sort of all starts to collide, it is a bit of a build and then a bit of an explosion. Anyway, the crime is set in the US, and we're in Texas, but we're in the top sort of right-hand corner, so it's northeast Texas. And when you look on a map, it's kind of on the border of Oklahoma, and Arkansas is to the right. It's really rural, like it's such a rural community and communities that they're all quite small and bitsy, very farm-orientated folk. And everybody who is interviewed, they have the thickest accents in a way that's like if someone was playing a part or doing a caricature of somebody from that kind of area, you'd think they were putting it on. But it's really how these people speak.
Mm-hmm.
It is really, deep, deep country. They are very proud of where they're from. They're people who are, that country folk. They would say they're simple folk. They're God-fearing, hard workers, and, they get on with their life within their own sort of area. And, there's a certain, I don't know, sort of authenticity that comes with it. Like, the people that were interviewed are never expected they'd be involved in anything like this.
Yeah.
And the decisions that they made along the way, I'd like to point out kind of thing, they did it given their view of the world and how they saw things as they went down. Because I think in retrospect, some of those decisions have now
been questioned.
Don't sit with them probably as comfortably as they did at the time.
Right.
So I need to introduce you to a young woman called Taylor Parker, which is not a particularly unusual name, is it? And Taylor became a very young mum. Not that young. She was 17. The first time she became a mother. And she did not stay with the father of her baby. So she was, I guess, a single mother. And then when she was 21, she went on to have a second child. So the first child was a daughter and the second child was a son. And she actually had that child during her first marriage. So she'd had a child at 17, no longer with the partner, got married, had a second child by the age of 21. And at that point, she decided, no more kids. I don't want to have any more kids. So she voluntarily went into the Northeast Texas Women's Health, which is obviously a women's facility, and basically said, I don't want to have any more kids.
Tie my tubes.
Tie my tubes. What can you do for me? So there's a process that comes with that, and certainly with someone who's so young. So she followed the process. She filled out the required paperwork, and there was a cooling off period as such. Obviously went away, came back, and was, well, for all accounts, sterilised, which I think is actually the tubal ligation, which is what sort of Schmitty was referring to. And off she went.
In the old-fashioned way of putting it.
Correct.
Tying one's tubes.
Yes. So this was probably a couple of years after her second child was born, I'd imagine. In that period, maybe a year to 18 months, whatever else. So then off she heads, and then she divorces her first husband and she marries a second time. So she's now had a child, been married, had a child, divorced, got married.
Yeah.
But in that time, remember, she has had the tubal ligation, so she's not able to have children.
You can reverse that.
Yeah, you can untie the knot.
You can.
However, she does actually go into hospital because she's got some bleeding. And when they get her in there, they discover that she does have an ovarian cyst, but also that she had an ectopic pregnancy which can be very dangerous as well, and that the tubal ligation had failed. So it's decided at that point to give her a hysterectomy. So she has a hysterectomy and she loses one of her ovaries at the same time. So obviously that means she's no longer able to have children.
Which is interesting because up until literally I was today old, but I was last year old, I think, or year before old when I was told that, because I always thought a hysterectomy was take it all out. But no,
so do I.
They only take bits out. You can take bits out. Yeah. So anyway. That was
Yeah.
news
So
to
I
me.
think basically her
Bits
uterus was taken out and one ovary. That's what I would
The
imagine.
uterus, like I
is
also
the
was
key
both
part
the,
to the hysterectomy.
like all of it, the whole womb, the ovaries, a lot. I also it was just everything from the
A
neck
good
up.
So did
clean
I,
out.
but you know, I totally think I'm the same. I'm totally guilty of the same thing. And sorry,
Yeah, I didn't realize you could.
Is it then like taking pieces of a jigsaw puzzle out so you can't complete it, so it doesn't
Not
work ever
quite.
again?
Well,
correct.
yeah,
Well, I thought once the
it
uterus
won't
is gone, you
work
can't
if the
have a
uterus
baby.
is out. That's
Yeah.
right. So,
Yeah.
but the idea, like they will do that because then the ovaries can continue to make hormones and stuff, so that you continue to behave like your body
To
behaves in a
function the
certain
way
way.
you
Yeah.
should.
But yeah,
So it would
like
have-
if you've got really bad endometriosis or something, then
Yeah.
you've not got the lining of the uterus, and therefore you're not having that.
I think they would weigh
menses.
everything up based on what
Yeah,
if
I
what
mean,
was
I'm
left
no
would it be
gynae, but-
beneficial to you, or if you're suffering from a disease, or if it's actually making your life a misery. Things come and go. Yeah.
There's also some people would feel like they're less of a woman if they've lost their lady
Yeah.
parts and that sort of stuff, and some don't care. I mean, every woman I know who's had a hysterectomy has said that they wish they'd done it earlier. It was the best thing they've ever had. But yeah.
Yes. Certainly a lot of people suffer a great deal. So
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Anyway, so it was kind of like something that she'd gone in initially, remember, off her own bat, but then it did become something else. So anyway, the net result was that she was unable to have children.
That is a shame, though, because if
Yes.
she wanted to continue to have children after that, then the choice is taken away. Yeah.
Correct. And that does become an issue for her in
Yeah.
her second marriage. So she's remarried in 2018.
Shame.
And she does have a very tight-knit group of girlfriends. There's two in particular who she's very, very close with. And they have a relationship that all I can say is totally all over social media, every interaction.
Oh, no.
And I had written down, she's never met a filter she didn't like, because she looks incredible in every
I don't even know how to
photo.
use them.
And
I've got to get
and-
onto filters.
And it's not that she's unattractive. Sometimes, like when there's no filter on and she's in like something being filmed, she was a very vivacious, very attractive young woman. She wasn't skinny, but she had a very attractive face. And I think when she did her hair and she had makeup on, she was very attractive. You know what I mean? Very appealing, very open, very smiley. You know, she's a good-looking girl. And she had this tight group of friends, and it was all, you know, honky-dory. Everyone was wonderful. They got along really well. But then one of them did fall pregnant. And whilst that was a positive thing to start with, it got a little bit creepy. And she started becoming really obsessed and wanting to go to all the appointments. She was wanting to touch the baby all the time. She just got a little bit too heavily involved to the point where hands-on. And so the girl was like, it just got to a point where I had to cut her off because it switched from being healthy to really unhealthy, and then it was scaring me.
Yeah.
So that friendship dissolved, and equally at the same time she got divorced again. So she was sort of a free agent in some respect.
Single white female.
Yeah. Are we starting to see some mental health issues?
I don't know. They don't. Well, there clearly would be, but they don't really bring that up at this point. The thing that really struck me was she didn't have her children. So she wanted another child, but she never really has the kids. They're not in her care. So I don't know if the kids are with, you know, different grandparents or dads or whatever it is, but they do not live with her full time. And she does see them, but they're not under her care. So for someone to be so desperately wanting another baby now, that was what one of the girlfriends said, hey, like, you know, this is freaking me out. It's not like you're not doing a good job with the ones you have got. I don't know where this is all
really
headed.
like little babies, though, and they're not.
Yeah, they're too old,
They
the
lose
others.
interest when they get old.
Well,
and
we know
some
that
go
from
the
our,
other
what are they
way.
called? What are those little baby dolls called?
Reborn.
Reborn dolls.
That's all she needed was a reborn doll.
Reborn.
But,
I would have saved everything.
Some women are the other way who, you know, find it really hard to bond with little babies. And as they get older and they start making jokes, you know, they get funnier and whatever, then they like them. So horses for courses, I think. But it sounds like she
I
liked
think
the little
it's-
ones.
I think the fact that she doesn't have the kids in her own custody implies something's not right.
Yeah, I agree. And it's
Because
never
they would typically
really
give them to
delved
her.
into. Yeah, it's never really I don't know. There's not enough information
We
around that.
don't know whether or not she quite happily said leave them at their dad's. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
she might
have.
necessarily
I
a
get that
custody
impression.
question. Yeah.
And
Well,
also,
she's living this life where she's on the filters and shit. She's on the reels.
She's on the real. There's a
Don't got time
lot
for
of
that.
social media presence, and what I would say is she's quite good at it as well. Like from an artistic point of view, she presents herself like, I mean, she's on top of it in terms of her social media profile suggests that she's a beautiful, happy, well-adjusted, popular. And it's not that she's not, but, it's that thing of what's real and what's not. And her social media presence is very attractive. Everything's curated a certain way. And she's actually does photography on the side. So she has an eye for it, I think. And I think some of the stuff she does, I look at her and I think, well, that would piss a lot of people off. I'd imagine they'd be quite jealous because it does look pretty good. It's all really wholesome, leaning into a little bit sexy, a little bit cute. Lots of country kind of stuff. I don't know. Well, when you see people when they've got a little bit of wheat in their mouth and they've got a prairie dress on.
I did not expect you to say a bit of wheat in their mouth.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's kind of like a bit of sexy country, I would put it as. Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of
sexy
the
country.
image she's projecting.
Yep.
And this all happens in quite quick succession. So she's already getting divorced. Her second marriage is ended in 2019. She's only married like the year before.
How old is she now?
She's probably, she might be about 26, I think.
Yeah, right.
About 26. She was born in 1992. Oh, hang on, let me just put that out.
Fast.
1992. And where am I now? I'm going 2019. Yeah, 27. 27. Oh, I don't know. 26, 27. I'm a bit confused by that. It's a math situation. Anyway, so this brings us to...
look at you doing math.
Already, we're moving quickly. Like the divorce must have happened in early 2019 because in summer of 2019, which of course is the middle of the year in the US, she is at a rodeo and she meets a young man called Wade Griffin. And we're right up in the corner, that northeast corner of Texas is where Wade lives. And they meet at this rodeo. And as he says, I was a country boy and she was a country girl. And
tell us all this time.
They he's a big unit. Like he's well built.
It's like he's a redhead,
got the big red beard, the big cowboy hat, and he's built and he's a real what I would call worker. There's 4 different vocations that I've got him listed as, but he was definitely a hog trapper. I don't really know what that is, but the footage shows him collecting big fucking pigs.
Pigs, yeah, catches pigs.
In cages and then moving them around.
Yeah.
So he was a hog trapper. He was a tradesman. He was a roofer, and he was also a welder. And to me, what I was a little bit confused was he did spend a lot of time on what was like a small sort of farm situation, but he also had an employer. So maybe he was doing stuff for at his own home. Maybe that was part of what he did, like the hog trapping, but then he was doing something else for his employer, but they never actually said what that was. That could have been the roofing or the welding, I'm not sure. But I got the impression that there was a lot going on. And one thing that I do absolutely know is he worked all the time, really long hours, up, 4 o'clock in the morning, working all day. And so when he met Taylor, she just kind of, I'm going to say latched onto him, but she adored him and she just threw herself into his life and proved to be quite a good asset. Like she got her hands dirty. She got in there with the pigs. She helped with the hogs. She wasn't mucking about.
They're unsafe animals.
She's a hog helper.
Oh, they're huge. They were terrifyingly large.
This is like Farmer Wants a Wife and she just got in there.
A little bit like that. So when he introduced Taylor to his friends, they were all like, my God, like she's a bit of all right. She's got a great personality because she was very vivacious, good looking, great chat. And she was prepared to be like that country girl, farm girl. She was by his side all the time, doing what he needed to do. And not just, next to him kind of thing, but getting her hands dirty and really helping. So everybody was like, wow, she's quite something, things are moving
she's
quite.
She's shoveling the shit. She's for real. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the social media presence was off the charts because she's with her beautiful beau and saying, I'm so glad I met you and whatever else. And there's lots of cute photos where they've got selfies and they're in the car or, she's interacting with him when she's filming him, like he's driving and they're having, some mock kind of argument or whatever else. But it looked really good and everyone was so happy for him, all his friends. And he had friends who were slightly older who were married, like his boss and his wife, and then there were some other friends who all, in their local area. So when they met her, they were like, oh, okay, well, fair enough. She's she's really quite something, isn't she? And then she started talking about her own background. So he was from a very humble, as I said, very simple sort of background. And she starts saying, look, I know that I can get, down and dirty and get all this sort of stuff done, but actually, well, I'm kind of an heiress and I'm entitled to a huge
This is new.
inheritance. Yes. And she explained that she was from a very famous syrup company and she was going to inherit a syrup fortune and that she didn't have it because her and her mother hated one another and her whole family hated her mother for the way she treated Taylor. But Grandma was looking after her and Grandma was going to come to the party and she was the one that would be getting her inheritance.
Grandma's syrup.
Yes.
It's
So
like
that-
Romy and Michelle's high school reunion where they said was it one of them invented the glue that goes on Post-its?
And Post-it.
Yeah. It's got a bit of that about it. Yeah.
That lied.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this is where things start to get slightly interesting with how did Wade Griffin, how did he sort of react to this? Well, actually, he was kind of like, well, this is actually kind of
Fortunate.
amazing. How fortuitous.
Mm.
And he was
Not only is she a hot pig wrestler, she
yes, exactly.
is rich.
Exactly. She's going to be rich. So although things are moving a bit
Allegedly.
quickly for me, because if they'd met in summer, these discussions start occurring as we're heading through fall. And he says that, the relationship started going a little bit too fast for him. He said, at times I couldn't quite deal with what was going on because I was still working all the time and I'd come back and something else would be shared with me. And I don't think I had the capacity to pull it all apart or really digest what was being said a lot of the time. So she moves in rather rapidly. So at this point, she moves into his house. And it's at that point that she's already told everybody that it turns out, I'm actually very wealthy, but I don't really have anything yet. But the mum said, I really noticed that she didn't really have many belongings. And when it came time to leave her apartment or whatever else and she moved in, she kind of came with a bag and that was kind of it. And she said, I just was a bit surprised that she had so few belongings for someone who'd come from such a fancy family, even if her, she was in conflict with her mother at the time. So she continues posting on social media like it's just constant. And she creates this sort of persona of, actually a really glamorous country girl and her hardworking, big, adorable, strong boyfriend. And, it's very wholesome in that respect. And people are seeing this. So there are people that she's just meeting through Wade and they really like her and they're really happy for Wade that he's met this woman that, is so involved, so helpful. Apparently, like he said, every day I'd get home, every night, she would have a full dinner on the table. Like she cooked really substantial meals. She didn't miss a beat. Like she was on it, always trying to keep him happy. And I think that the personality, the looks, and then, of course, the money was a rather big bonus. So that I think people were genuinely excited by that.
It's almost too good to be true.
Yes. However, sitting behind this sort of facade was the fact that she started to introduce the family drama to Wade and this conflict that she was having with her mum. So she'd be like, my mum's a monster. She doesn't want me to have any money. And it's because of her that I can't really have anything to do with my family. Everybody's at loggerheads and whatever else. My mum hates me. And it's actually my grandma who's going to give me money. And she's actually going to give me $8 million. So I think Wade was very happy to kind of believe that would be true. Yes. And everybody else was sort of like, okay. I don't think he really knew what to do with that information. But as a result of that piece of news which she shared with him, which is actually Grandma's going to give me $8 million in the short term, I don't have to wait, forever. I'm not waiting for someone to peg it at this point. They start shopping. So
oh, no.
Wade had said to his friends, I'm set. So it wasn't that he wasn't into her or, happy to be with her. But I do think there was a glimmer at that point of him going, well, okay, well, why not? Here we go. And they went shopping and she bought cars and trucks and tractors. So she basically bought a truck for him, like those I'm talking about.
But with what?
Well, credit, I guess.
Like a big four-wheel drive?
Yes, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Not a four-wheel drive, but, like an American.
I'd love to go shopping, but I can't afford anything.
Someone, I think it might have been his boss or someone said to him, that's a $100,000 truck. Like, you can't afford that. And he said, there's stuff about me. You don't know everything about me. Stuff, a little bit like that. But then they were buying what I would call like toys. They bought tractors they bought. Everyone keeps talking about a side-by-side. And we had a side-by-side by all accounts. It was a Polaris. We used to have this off-road vehicle when we lived overseas, which you can drive through mud and across snow and whatever else. And they were always out on the new side-by-side. So they did that. They bought cattle. But then Taylor bought Connie.
Is that a four-wheeler? Do you mean?
Yeah, it's like it's got 2 seats. So it's just two people sit in it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
A farm kind of vehicle.
Yeah. Little car
Polaris.
thing to get around town.
Yeah, they got a
hightail
little
around
tray
town.
at the back,
Yeah,
two-seater.
Yeah.
When
It
they
has
sit
Did you say
side by side.
big wheels.
Polaris? Oh,
We
Yeah,
had one that
yeah.
was a Polaris. That's a brand name. I don't. They call it side-by-side,
All right, I'll have a look
which
at it.
I suspect is what they're talking
It's
about.
a UTV.
Okay.
That's another
Oh,
word
yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
that's what I was thinking of.
What
But
does
a
that
bigger
stand for? Utility?
Terrain
utility-
vehicle.
all-terrain
all-terrain vehicle. Oh, okay.
ATV,
Ultra-terrain vehicle.
something
or,
like that.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a-
that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
This is a bigger version of what I was thinking of. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's quite
Right,
small.
got it.
Yeah, so they've gone out and they've spent money.
I mean,
And everyone's like, whoa, it's exciting. And then she buys a car and she gives it to Connie, who is Wade's mum. And Wade's mum's like, what's this? And she said, it's for you. She goes, I heard you talking about a car a couple of weeks ago and, it's for you. And she was like, oh, my goodness. And so Taylor posts this photo of Connie getting into this thing with a massive caption about, how amazing it felt to be able to do this for Wade's mum. And, it's all done for a very sort of external, validation. She's always looking for that tick, oh, my God, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. And then they decide that they're going to buy a property. And she says to Wade, what would be your ideal? Where would you want to be? What do you want? And he finds this property.
a cheeky 400 acres or hectares.
Yeah. How do you know that? Can you say
Oh,
that?
it's a joke. No,
No,
I was
but
just
it's like
kidding.
it was a substantial place.
I would
It was
think
worth,
a big piece of land.
yes, it was
and-
worth like $4 million or something.
Oh.
It was called, I would call it Pecan Bend, but it's like Pecan Point, and she was
Pecan
going, we're going to
Bend.
call it Pecan Bend. Anyway, it would have, and it was
Pecan Bend.
totally, and even Wade's mum said it was not about her. It was not her dream. It was what
Was
Wade
his.
would want. She was doing what Wade would want. What would you want? What do you want? What sort of animals do you want to have? How do you want? Do you want a barn? Do you want to have this? And
So
they,
she was mad for him. Is that what
totally,
we're getting?
yeah, she
Right.
was.
But where's the money coming from?
Do you
I
know
don't
what?
know.
Even
Are
at
you
the end-
deliberately
even-
holding that
even
back?
at-
Or is
No, I'm
No.
not. Even at the end of this, I don't even know where it'll come from.
Because if
It
it was
doesn't
our
come.
dream to have,
It doesn't come.
if it was
But,
our dream to
that's
buy
not-
a $4 million property,
Good luck.
it's not going to happen.
But this is the thing, right? This is what I do not understand. I struggle to get money
that's
sometimes. I
right.
struggle to get the small spend myself. I'm going, let's not even worry about the property. Let's go back to the cars, the vehicles. Like, where did that money come from? Because she
Well-
actually has those at that point.
I know. And I know that a Polaris or a side-by-side is fancy, but let's face it, it's not a Nissan Cube.
I mean, true.
It's not.
It does have a tray
like
that
your
you can
dream
move
vehicle.
dead bodies in, but they're not. They're in full view,
It's not as good as the Cube. we
and
all
you
know
try
that.
to capture a live victim. You
no,
need
no,
a
no.
cube.
You could see it. That's right.
That's
the Cube
right.
is
Yeah.
much better for that.
Much
and
more practical.
wheelchairs.
That's right.
Right.
So the big news about Pecan Point
Pecan Point.
is shared with the family at Christmas. So remember, they met in summer. So I don't know when that was. Let's say it was July or August. And in that time, they've got together. They've moved in together.
So she's just love bombed him, is what's
Totally.
happening here.
She's
right?
announced that she's an heiress, or, she's got getting an inheritance. Then there's been a little bit of a, that's all wonderful. Then she's kind of upped the ante on that and gone and bought all the cars. And now she's upped the ante again and gone, right, we've got our dream property. This is our future. And it was all about this incredible future they're going to have. And she kind of they did a presentation to the family at
Oh,
Christmas,
good. I like
the wider
that.
family. So there's,
Just in case there's any misunderstanding, I've put it on PowerPoint for you.
well, there's all this
Yeah, yeah.
footage of her talking about how excited she is, and his family, like, are sitting around genuinely happy. I think there's a couple of faces that I could construe as being, oh, okay, like, really,
That's unusual.
but positive. Everyone's going, good for
This does
you,
seem
Wade.
too good to be true.
This too, yeah.
Mm. But as you said, when you describe them, they're not people who are naturally cynical like
No.
us. Yeah. Their
No,
lives
exactly.
did not lead them to have reason to be naturally cynical up until this
They
point.
weren't true crime podcasters.
Correct.
But Connie gets a very loud wake up call, and Connie is Wade's mum. So she said, look, a mum knows. And she said, I had reservations and I did feel like, gosh, I'm concerned about Wade because Wade was putting his name on the signed offer for the house. And she said, there's no way he can afford any of this kind of stuff.
That's bad.
And then some weeks after she had been given the car, Taylor gets in touch with her and says, Connie, you need to leave the car in Wade's driveway. It's going to be collected on a recall. So Patterson Nissan, no, we call it Nissan.
Not repossessed.
How do they say
Nissan?
Nissan?
That's where the
Nissan?
Nissan
No,
Cube.
Nissan. Nissan. And they say it different.
Nissan.
Nissan. Like it's, I can't remember. But anyway, it's not, I would say Nissan. She
Which
didn't
is how
say
the
Nissan,
Japanese would say
Yeah.
it. So it's probably
Yeah,
culturally
correct.
appropriate. But
Yes. So she says, they're coming they need to do a recall on the vehicle. So Connie leaves the vehicle, it's taken. And then she's like, where's my new car coming? So replacement car. She calls the dealership and says, hey, I'm just inquiring about the car that they're taken for the recall. What's the deal? When's the other one coming? And they said, that car wasn't collected on a recall. It was repossessed because it was never paid for. And she said at that point, she was like, I just thought, oh my God, what are we going to go
What
into?
have we got ourselves
what have we got ourselves into?
Yeah.
And she said, I first of all started to go to Wade and say, hey, do you know what's really going on here? Is everything okay? And she said, I could feel him pulling away. She said, so I thought I'm going to have to be really careful how I broach this. So she kind of held a little bit of ground, or not held ground, that's the opposite of what she did. She kind of pulled back a little bit and gave him the space, hoping, I think, that he might start to clock that some of this stuff was
plant
probably
a seed and let it grow.
too good to be true. Yeah, because I think I just think he was such a busy guy. And he chose to believe it, don't get me wrong. But he wasn't sort of sitting around having chats with everyone else. It was quite frenetic. All this happens in a relatively short period of time.
But that's the whole thing about love bombing and all the rest of it. It's like there's so much happening that you can't stop and think about it and go, hang on a minute. And then also, she's a good-looking girl. He may be a unit. I wouldn't say he's super hot.
No, it's not
So
hot.
all of a sudden
he's a big man,
vivacious, interesting woman who wants him a lot.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a lot. Yeah. And then he's got a job and he's got to chase the hogs.
Yes.
He's got a lot on, so he's not even thought about it. He's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let it go. Leave it at face value. Why would someone come into my life and do this? Why would someone lie to me about these things?
And there's so much involved in trying to purchase the property and verify that, that there is a trust, there is an inheritance. So the people who are, the estate agents, whatever else, are working with her, and she has all these people that are contacting her. She has a lawyer in Houston who they can never get hold of. She's got a bank that they, it's just all these red herrings. Yes, exactly. Uncle Buck's going to pay the
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Butch. Sorry, not Uncle Buck. I said Uncle Butch. Some guy is going to put the money in so that they can put into escrow. There's all these things but there are phone numbers and emails and all these things are coming. It's not like there's no one ever in contact. There are letters coming through and emails, and at one point they're chasing.
She's not the heiress to a syrup fortune, is she?
No.
There
is a.
Well, maybe a syrup fortune isn't very much, and we all just thought it was.
She gives him a contact in Houston for the lawyer who looks after her oil lease. Anyway, her name's Shelley Links. Anyway, they say, I try and call Shelley, they could never get through. And they said, look, we'd be getting, emails from different people on a Saturday morning or, late at night. It was always just odd.
India.
But they said they finally hear back from Shelley Links, and it's an email kind of reprimanding them saying, how dare you? You're not allowed to ask for personal information about the bank of my client or any client. He said, we were, copping a beating from then. I was like, oh, okay. So there was enough for it to keep moving, but it just nothing would ever then sort of fall into place. It was just sort of like smoke and mirrors. Yeah. Anyway, so it then sort of gets to a point, again, I guess this is probably just around.
How do you orchestrate all that? That's the question for me.
This is what I say time and time again.
Where's she getting these people, or is it all her?
I don't know. It's all her.
Oh, right.
It's all
her.
She's
Shelley Links.
I had this idea. Yeah, she's Shelley Links. Because I had this idea that she was. There was someone called Shelley
Links.
Links.
She had a team of people.
No. Yeah, she had a team in
at
India.
this point, no one knows any of this. It's not even that. It's her creating stuff.
She's phoned the scam call centre in Cambodia.
She leans very heavily into what she can find out on the internet. Some of the
this
stuff
is a bit reminiscent of Janelle. Am I pretty enough? Remember she
dictates
did
that.
a whole lot
Yes.
of fake emails
Yes.
about the CIA or something?
There's
I don't know.
so
Some
much
crazy thing.
stuff
Yes.
online. I'm sure this is actually very prevalent when you realise what you can search and how it can be done. If you think to
Who's
search
got
for it, I mean,
time
that's
for
the
shit
thing, right?
like
I
this?
mean, you don't have time for it.
I
Trust me.
I'm
know,
literally
imagine.
not even working at the moment, and I don't have time for this.
And
What would I do? Where do I look at my reels? Yeah, go on.
and she's doing all of this for love.
Or
I think
something.
so. Or something to know. Anyway, it comes to a sort of a loggerhead where it's clear the money's not
It's just
coming.
exhausting.
It is. It's
It is.
knackering already. Oh,
And
nap time.
there is a fight, and they have a disagreement about the fact that the money is not coming, and so she kind of then throws it back onto him. And what she starts telling the friends, like who have become her friends to him, is, I bought him a truck, and he doesn't even seem to care, and I don't even know that he loves me. And it was becoming very apparent that she was panicked that she was going to lose him, and that she just loved him so much. And what people were saying, or not people, there was one witness that said, I watched them going out on the side by side because they lived across the road, and she said she would be hung off him, going everywhere with him that she could. And she said, and he appeared distant to me, but it could have been anything.
He's just trying to drive the thing with this woman
And I
hanging
just think
on
he's
to
sort of
him.
like, what can I do? I
She's too
can't.
needy.
If the money's not coming, the money's not coming. Let's just sort of, I'm embarrassed because I've told my family, but let's just keep moving on.
But also, do you think that he strikes you as the kind of man who's used to having a human appendage attached to him?
No, I don't think
Yeah,
he's used to
so-
any of this. I don't think
Yeah.
no
A
one can
lying
used to this kind of
human
thing. This is,
appendage.
this
Yeah.
is crazy, and it's moving at such a
Do you
pace.
know what I mean? Like, just the physicalness of that
Oh
was
yeah,
shit me.
give me some space.
I'm in a
young-
side by side. I'm trying to drive this. Stop. Just get off me for a minute.
Stop
Yes.
recording
Clingy
us
is
and
the right
having
word.
having cute moments for Instagram.
Well, unless you're doing a good job of monetizing it, and in which case that's where the money's coming from. So fine, but otherwise,
So there's been a bit of a to do, and she's panicked. So she's talking to friends about it, and they're like, just chill out. It'll be fine. It's not the end of the world, whatever else. But she doesn't really see it that way. And then in January of 2020, so again, remember, met in summer of 19. We've just talked about the fact that at Christmas they've announced
7 months.
the house that
Yeah.
hasn't worked
Ish.
out. And in January 2020, she goes to Angela, and Angela is her boss's wife, who they're friends with. They've adored her because she has been, this, vivacious young girl who they've always been incredibly fond of Wade, and they think that she adds to his life. And she goes to Angela, who's a chiropractor, and says, I need you to do a treatment on me, and I want you to ask my body if it's pregnant because I just know that it is. And she laughs and she goes, How can you
Chiropractor?
a chiropractor, yeah.
How about
goes,
doing
"How can you
pissing on a
tell?"
stick? Yeah.
Yeah. And she says, I can tell because when I look in the mirror, my aura has changed. Anyway, the
Oh.
chiropractor's laughing, going, yeah,
Is that
yeah,
how
yeah.
you tell?
And she goes, I've just got to tell Wade. And she said, no, you don't. You don't need to tell Wade.
No, you need to wee
find
on a
out.
stick first.
That's what you
yes.
need to do.
Yeah.
But of course, Taylor doesn't take that to heart. And so what she does instead is she goes and she says to Wade, I think I might be pregnant.
How old is she at this point?
I think she's 20. She's like 26, 27.
And there's no
Her
shadow
birthday's
of
in
a doubt
December.
that
So
through the hysterectomy, she cannot have a child. She cannot.
she's
be
probably just
pregnant?
turned 27. Yeah, no, she cannot have a child. But
Okay.
no one knows this, and certainly
No,
not
I
Wade,
realise
right?
it's a secret.
And
but
no one within that her new life knows.
Yeah.
But
But yes,
so she says to Wade, I think my and he doesn't really know what to do. I think he's like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's
He's having
nice.
Far
doubts
out.
already.
This was already moving too fast. Now, baby, this is freaking me out a bit.
Is this
Anyway,
a
so-
tale as old as time where they say they're pregnant to keep the man or something?
Not always.
Wow.
I did a story the other day where the guy was telling everyone that the girlfriend was pregnant, but she wasn't. So, I
Was that-
admit,
was that
much
with
more
us?
rare. Yeah, much more. Yeah, it was the guy who they did the spree killing. Remember the spree
Yeah.
killers
Yeah, kind of.
in Nebraska? Yeah, he was so obsessed with her. Carol, Karil. They killed Carol
Carol.
King.
Yeah, but he
spelled
can't.
correctly?
He can't tell her that she's pregnant to keep her.
No, but he went around
That
telling
wouldn't
everyone
work.
else that she was pregnant.
Yeah, but that's
Be-
different.
To him. Okay.
She's on her last legs, knowing that it's all about to unravel, and she's
she's
going, "I'll tell him
absolutely
I'm
trying to
pregnant,
use-
so he stays." And he's probably going, "Oh no!"
I've got one card left in my deck, Allow me to play it. Yes.
At
The
this
old
point,
I'm pregnant. Yeah.
I'd love to know why her other 2 marriages and first relationship failed. I'm sure we don't find that out. But
17.
I have no
we can
information
let
on
that
I
one
any
feel
of
go,
like
that
but-
at all.
she's
No
got
names,
something
nothing.
to do with it.
No
Probably.
children's names, none, like the ex's names. One
Good.
of them does come in later, but again, it's just a cursory comment, which I probably could have guessed anyway. She wasn't a great mum.
There you have it.
Yeah, like she wasn't a
Or
great mum, and
wife.
she wasn't a great mum, and she wasn't around. So Angela, who is the chiropractor / the boss's wife, takes Taylor to have a pregnancy test or something at a doctor. She doesn't go in with her, but she comes out and she's got a piece of paper that says the pregnancy is confirmed. And Roger and Angela, delighted. They're over the moon. They're really happy, and so they're quite encouraging to him. And she gets busy preparing. She's super, super pumped for this, and she's like, okay, so this is exciting. And
she's fucked
she
up.
starts talking about the fact that, she wants to announce it, and they have a conversation about what the baby's in. It turns out it's going to be a little girl. And
Does it?
It does. So she gets all the
And she got that from her pregnancy test.
Turns out it's going to be a little
shares
stillborn.
at one point, she shares
Not born.
a piece of paperwork, and I think that might have been about, was that the one about the gender, or I can't remember what it was about, but she sent it to one of her current friends. Again, it was the wife of one of his best mates, and she picks up on it that it's got a year. It must have been from her first or second pregnancy. I don't remember.
Right.
She sends it back and says,
wrong year.
You might want to change the
I think there's a problem with that. And she says within 30 seconds, she said that she'd called. She said, oh, yes, there was an error. Every single one in the whole system in the hospital that day had error. So it starts to become them. So that woman's like, I'm not buying it. Yep. So this friend starts to go, this is not adding up. I'm like, she's the one who really starts to get a bit suspicious. And her husband's like, just leave it. Like, she's she's good for him. Like, I don't want to hear it. I think you're creating a lot of drama that doesn't exist. And she's like, no.
Sometimes you should listen to
Something's
your
not
dramatic
right. Something's not right.
Yes.
Anyway, so they work out that, I don't know how she does it. She fakes again that it's going to be a girl. Anyway, so she says to him, we're going to have a girl. What would you like to call her? And Wade says, I'd always wanted to have a little girl, call her Clancy. So they call her Clancy Gale. So Clancy Gale is the name of the baby. And they do like a launch, and there's a photograph where they have a gender reveal at the farm or whatever they live. And a baby calf has a big pink bow, and she posts this picture of them with the baby and with the baby calf. The calf is a baby, with a pink bow, saying Clancy Griffin coming September 2020.
And what month are we in now?
January. Yep.
Do people believe this?
It's like 15 minutes old, this baby.
Yeah, how do you get a gender? Is that
I don't
normal?
actually know if that is, that could be wrong. That might not be right. This could be February or something like that, because she does realise, she works out she's pregnant or she says she's pregnant in January. So it could be slightly after that. It might
Can
be,
you even find out you're pregnant that early? Like, what would be the
early.
Yeah, because 9 months, you're actually pregnant 10 months or closer to 10 months.
And you can find out
months
pretty early.
is a fallacy, yeah.
And the gender,
I'm not sure
that's
about
usually a bit
gender.
later. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, they say it's a girl. And
Just
then
trust
this
us,
is
it's a
when
girl.
it all starts to get rather interesting, because the old friends see this and they're like,
Old friends. Hang
she's
on a
had a
minute.
hysterectomy. This isn't possible.
Well, I'm sorry, unless the Lord Jesus has, done a miracle.
And this is the bit that is absolutely, I find this fascinating. The Northeast Texas Women's Health, the clinic that she went to, they see it because it is such a small community. They're aware of it. And they say, right, the first time we saw her was in 2010 when she was 17, when she had her first pregnancy. Then she did the permanent sterilisation with her waiting period. She returned with the bleeding. She had the cyst on the right ovary. She had the ectopic pregnancy, which all led to her hysterectomy, which means that she no longer has a uterus, which means she simply cannot be pregnant.
So hang on. I mean,
so they see this and they know she's lying, but they are bound by the fact they can't say anything unless
so they
it's
can't
doing
say
anything
anything because of confidentiality.
So they are literally, there's a clinic with like there's a nurse, I think, and a doctor, or maybe they're both doctors who spoke on screen saying, we know Taylor can't be pregnant. We know this is not right.
What do we do about it?
Oh, well, there's nothing that they do
There's
about it.
nothing they
Can do
can
about
do
that
about
point.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they go, we know it's not possible. We cannot publicly say anything because it's not hurting anybody, and we can't
Yet.
go against the HIPAA laws.
Yeah.
HIPAA, like the
Hippocratic
Hippocratic
Oath.
Oath.
Yeah.
I call it HIPAA. So this is where it blows my mind. What she was doing was she'd gone online, and you can literally, I mean, I haven't, but it shows how you search fake ultrasounds. You put your name in, what month, what date, whatever else, and you can have them sent through to you. I mean, why wouldn't you? Think about everything else you can have made available. So that was why she was getting the ultrasounds. She was having them done online. And the old friends are
having
just
them done online. That's funny.
freaking out, going, "Oh my God, she's crazy! Like she's just nuts." But not really wanting to have anything to do with
it.
Yes. So the pregnancy starts tracking along, and she uses all of these sort of like underhand ways to, when she's walking into the doctor's surgery. It's now the pandemic, so she's always on her own. Wade never goes in with her. Everything she's done, she's pre-prepared. And where it's quite funny is, of course, when they look back at it retrospectively,
Is she
the wording
responsible for COVID?
Maybe. It was, a lot of the wording on things is inaccurate, or it's not the way something could have been positioned. Like she's just copying and pasting and doing bits and pieces like that. And then, any time that sort of something comes up or somebody goes, why hasn't this happened, or where is that, or whatever else, she goes into that panic mode again and creates another sort of distraction. So what starts to happen is Wade and Angela, again, the woman who'd helped her, the boss's wife, they start to receive like really weird, aggressive texts or emails at all hours of the day from unknown numbers, plural, or email addresses. And it might say something like, Taylor is I'm going to put Taylor into the deepest depression. Wade's going to leave her. I'm going to kill her and her unborn child. Anyway, the mum, Connie, starts freaking out. She's like, Wade, this is really not good. Like, I'm really worried about you. I think there's a problem. Anyway, he's like, I don't know who it is, Mum. He's not that bothered. Anyway, then, of course, Taylor then works out it's her mother. So Wade says to his mum, it's her mum. Her mum's a monster. She's just such a crazy person. She's the one who's responsible for all these terrible emails and texts. So, I mean, it's just madness. So I did mention before that she had a really great eye for, how she construct her online sort of presence and imagery, and she was a wedding photographer on the side, or did bits and pieces. But, she wasn't like a professional, but she was good at it, and she was a cheap alternative. So there was a young woman called Reagan who reached out to her and said, Reagan. I think I say Reagan. Ronald Reagan, like Reagan, yeah.
Correct.
I would be really interested in, having you do the photos for my wedding. Anyway, so they meet, and her mum said, why did you choose her? And she said, I think she's a really nice girl, and, she's got, great work. And I've seen photos of her. She was doing her own sort of, she did like a full pregnancy shoot. Like she hired a photographer who did it, and that she did her own like photos. And she was able to do that because she used Amazon to buy a silicone baby bump, and she wore that once she got to a point where she was pregnant enough. So she sees Reagan, and Reagan says,
and he didn't notice that she was wearing a silicone baby bump at night when they went to bed?
No, apparently not. She spent a lot of time in the toilet, a lot of time in the bathroom, and they hadn't touched each other for months and hadn't sex in a long time, he said to a mate.
Right.
But she had done the wedding photos for this Reagan girl, and Reagan said she was lovely, and her family really liked her. She actually stayed and had drinks with him, and the photos are beautiful. Like, it was a gorgeous day. Everyone said it was absolutely spectacular, and that she had done a great job, and they kind of got closer through that. So they would, hang out occasionally. So I told her that she bought the baby belly. She got the baby belly in June, so we're now in June. But the local friends, the new friends, are really starting to get a bit confused. Things are not adding up. And the one friend who is the wife of his, best mate or whatever, she's on a mission. She starts to call out.
Is this the one who received the
No.
picture or something and knew it was the wrong date and was on
Yes,
her
yes.
quickly?
Yes, you're right. Yes, yeah. So
Suspicious Sally.
yes, I've forgotten her name, but she's onto it. Like she's calling people and finding bits and pieces out. And so
she's investigating.
She says, while she's posting all this time on social media, it's like, we can't wait to meet our beautiful girl, how many weeks to go, how many months to go, all the rest. Meanwhile, the mum's just staying quiet going, I don't know where we're going to go, but surely she's going to have a miscarriage anytime soon. That was where everyone thought it was going to have to be headed, right?
Why?
She's going to, because
she's not pregnant.
Not pregnant. So she's going to have to fake a miscarriage while she's still.
The clinic knows she's faking.
Yes, but the clinic can't communicate with anybody.
Correct. Everybody's
like in their own sort of silo. No one's really. I think Connie and the
old friends would know.
They're starting to talk.
New friends.
Old friends know. Clinic's over here. New friends, the mum and that, they're having a chat, and they're like, surely she's going to have to fake a miscarriage next, because where are we going with this if she's not pregnant? And what she was doing, the photos were so. Again, because the filters, what else? She at the right angle, like she looked pregnant, right? Because she had the stomach on or whatever.
Mm.
And so it just, progresses. And then on September 11th,
and she's not aware that everyone around her is questioning that she's pregnant.
She is, and there's some conflict between her and Wade, and different things. So Wade's now no longer talking to his best mate because the wife had said, I think you really need to work out that there's something not right. She's lying, she's not pregnant, and he's like, hey, I don't want to speak to you guys. You can't say that about my partner.
Yeah.
And then we get to September 11th, so 2 weeks till we meet you. She posts. And everyone's just waiting, and they talk like the people who live across the road are taking photos
she bought
of her.
a new silicone because she must have been massive by now.
Well, she wasn't. That's the thing. She'd put on
never
weight.
Grew.
It was just like this baby. Sometimes she looked bigger than others. Sometimes she looked more pregnant than others. But
it's just an excuse to eat all the pies. Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
And this is where so now we're at September. So now the clinic. has been watching this the whole time, and they're like, it's too late for her to say she's had a miscarriage now. We're beyond that. There has to be a baby. We are concerned. So the clinic put a code pink in action for their patients and their nursery because their fear is that she's going to steal a baby.
Steal one, yes.
Yeah. They're like, this is where this is headed. We are onto it. So everybody in that clinic was aware of what was happening. That is insane. They can't say it publicly.
I didn't even think that
got
was a thing.
I know. Well, apparently it is.
A code pink.
Code pink means is like sort of a lockdown
Someone's going to steal your kids.
We're waiting for someone to come and steal a baby.
How's your wife? How's your kids? How's your wife?
So any time from here, we're in code pink. So,
Jeepers.
I mean, this is crazy, right? So she ends up going to 10 months. She's 13 days late, October 5, and things start to get quite weird. So she's
as opposed to what's happened to this point.
Correct. But she and Wade are going to go to Mount Pleasant, which I believe must be a hospital. And they have an appointment for October the 5th, and he actually takes leave for that week. And that morning before they're about to go, she wakes him up and she says, I can smell smoke. And he goes outside and the whole underside of his house is on fire. So he's able to put it out with the hose. And then he comes back in. He's like, I'm just going to stay on the couch or whatever else. And she's like, well, we've still got to go to the hospital or whatever else. And then he's like, okay. Anyway, then she comes out. She goes, oh, my God, we won't be going to the hospital today. There's been a bomb threat at Mount Pleasant. And he's like, no, there hasn't. Don't be ridiculous. And she goes, look, it's all over Facebook. And it was all over Facebook because a sergeant said that a male voice had called in and said that there was a bomb on site. So that was October 5th.
Hello,
at this point,
I'm just letting you know that there's a bomb on site.
It's Taylor here.
Well, no. Do you know how she did that? She used a thing where it changed the voice.
Yeah.
Wow. She used all these tools the whole way through. So his mum, Connie says at this point, do you love her? And he says, I care about her. And she's like, I'm really I'm really worried about you. Something's going to go down. Like, this is not right. So Wade goes back and they actually he has a fight with Taylor.
Yes.
And she gets really angry. And she's like, I hate the fact that your family don't believe me and they call me a liar. I'm going to bring a kid home. That's the actual wording she used. I am not a liar. I'm pregnant. I'm going to bring a baby home.
Oh, no.
So.
Says no pregnant woman ever.
She starts Googling. This is going through her Google history.
Pregnant.
She's Googling at this time how a C-section is performed. Yeah. And then she Googles her friend who she had done the wedding photos for, knowing that she is also now pregnant. She sees the ultrasound images of her baby on Facebook. And on October 7, Reagan and Taylor have a girls' day, and Taylor takes her over a gift, and they go out to Starbucks. And Reagan posts this on Facebook saying, "It's so good to see you. You're going to be a great mom. You know, it's all going to go so well. I'm so excited for you." You know, that kind of hype kind of message. October 8, Taylor's baby still hasn't arrived. Everyone's still waiting, and she goes and visits Reagan again. And her mum says, "Oh, I thought you saw her yesterday." She said, "Oh, she's going in to be induced tomorrow. She's having the baby tomorrow. And she's just totally overwhelmed and she's not getting a whole lot of support. Like, her mum hates, got nothing to do with the mum. And I think her partner's pet mum is giving her a bit of a hard time. She just doesn't have anyone. Like, Reagan really is her only point of support." And so she's like, "I'm happy to help her mum. I feel bad for her." And then 17 days after the due date, on October 9, 2020, Wade gets up at 3:30 to 4:30 in the morning to get ready to do what is like a hog run. And he and Taylor are going to take the hogs that they've trapped up to a site in Oklahoma. And then on their way back, they're going to go to Ida Bell Hospital where she's actually going to have the baby. So that's the plan. However, when he gets up, he says, let's go. We got to get ready. She's like, I'm not feeling very well. And he's like, well, this is the plan. We've got to go. And she's like, I don't think I can. I will meet you at Ida Bell. You go drop the hogs off. I'll feel better and I'll meet you there. Okay. So he's like, I can't leave you. And she's like, we need the money. You have to go. Like, you've got to take those hogs. We've got no other option. We need the money. It's like, yeah, fair enough. So I was sort of sold on that. I bet we've got to sell these hogs. So he leaves, and it's a 4.5-hour drive to where he's going to drop these hogs off. And it's like a full trailer. And when he gets there, the guy goes, I didn't order any hogs today. They're not for me. And he goes,
What?
He goes, no way. Like, you texted me this morning. He's like, no, I didn't. And he goes, yes, you did. And he gets the text out. And the text talks about they have to be delivered like tomorrow or, today, because we've got 7 groups of hunters this weekend. So that's how it worked out what the hogs were for.
Right.
People obviously going and shooting them. And he's like, I didn't text anywhere. That is not from me. That's not my number. And he's like, but who did you not speak to Taylor, like my partner? And he's like, yeah, like weeks ago, but I didn't confirm anything. I didn't hear back from him. We just sort of let it go. So Taylor has got him up there to drop these hogs off.
Get him out of the way.
And
Jesus.
It's that morning that Reagan's husband calls her mum and says, Miss Jessica, I can't get hold of Reagan. Something's not right. I was texting her and it's not her texting me back, and now it's stopped and something's not right. And she hasn't. He's like, well, is she at work? He's like, no, she hasn't turned up to work. And she's like, oh, that's all right. I'll go and check on her. And it's at that point they call ahead and try and find out.
Where's Miss Jessica?
Miss Jessica is nearby. So she's heading to Reagan's house to check on her.
She wasn't in Reagan's house, right?
No, she's gone to check on her. And then her stepdad gets a frantic call from Miss Jessica saying, our grandbaby's not at daycare. Something's wrong. I'm racing to the house. And when she comes around the corner, her mum says that the garage door's up, and she said it's never up. She said, I just was like, oh my God, something's not right. She said, I walked across like the garage floor, and she said, I could see a little bit of blood, but she said, I didn't think it was too much from the dogs or something that cut themselves or whatever else. And she said that she then goes to open the door and she can see a bloody footprint. So like I can see a footprint in blood and she's like, I panic.
This is one of those houses that
a door that goes to the garage
into the house. Yeah, okay.
And she says, so I panic and I leave. I walk back out and then she's like, oh my God, what if she's in there and she can't, something's happened to her. I need to go in and see if she's in there, if she's safe. And of course she goes in. And then it cuts to the 911 call and Miss Jessica, Reagan's mum, is screaming on the phone. And when they're like, what's happened? She's like, my daughter's been murdered. And they said, what's happened? She's like, somebody's got into the house.
Jesus.
Around the same time, a Texas trooper pulls over a car that's driving erratically. And in that car is Taylor.
With a
just
baby.
Mad with a baby on her lap. And the trooper can see the umbilical cord and she's like, I've just had a baby and, I'm trying to get to Idaville Hospital and my husband's going to be there and, can you help me? Can you help me? And they're like, of course they call, and the ambulance arrives and they get her out and she's kind of talking gibberish, got blood on her or whatever else.
One look at her vagina and they go, you have not given birth, lady.
Yes. So now I'm going to actually be a bit more technical, sort of up until that point. I'm going to tell you sort of what then actually transpires.
Oh, God.
So it was October 9. Taylor Parker drove to Reagan Simmons Hancock's house in New Boston, Texas, where her and her 3-year-old daughter were present at the time she arrived. At the house, Taylor Parker viciously attacked Reagan despite her pregnancy. She suffered blunt force trauma and multiple stab wounds. Forensic evidence indicated the attack took place at several locations throughout the house, suggesting that Reagan moved around the residence while being attacked and bled in multiple areas before she collapsed on the floor. The attack ultimately resulted in the death of the 21-year-old Reagan Simmons Hancock. Taylor Parker performed a crude C-section with a scalpel she brought with her to the home. The victim's 3-year-old daughter was not physically harmed during the attack, and when the stepfather finds out, he calls a mate who's nearby, and they go to the house together. And the stepfather goes to go in to find the little daughter there, but he would have to step over Reagan's body to get in there. So he's like, I can't do it. So they have to send their family friend in to get over Reagan's body to go through the house because they'd been yelling out to her, and she's in the farthest bedroom under a duvet, this little girl. It's just horrendous. Can you imagine having heard what
I assume she heard or saw something to be hiding like that?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. After murdering Reagan and stealing her baby, Parker flees to Oklahoma. But while she was in, there's a suburb called DeKalb, Texas, she's stopped by a Texas Highway Patrol officer who noticed she was driving erratically. She lies to the trooper that she's given birth on the roadside and that the baby was not breathing. And the trooper does notice an umbilical cord, which had been cut from Reagan.
Left in the car?
Going down her pants, yeah.
Going down her pants? Like she shoved it up her pants?
Yeah, I don't quite know. But it was
my God.
Taylor Parker was therefore taken to the hospital in Idabel in Oklahoma where she said she was going, where the baby girl was later named as Braxlyn Sage, which is what they had called her. No, she was pronounced dead. Reagan's body was discovered very shortly after her murder, obviously casting doubt. And this is, I do not know why, but this is all filmed, right? So you've got the footage from when she's in the body cam from the Texas trooper, and she's, crazy or whatever. And then you sort of cut to different, and I don't know who's filming this. I would assume maybe it's a police officer. I'm not sure, but she's in the hospital and people are coming in and out and they're all talking and someone's gone outside to talk to the police and like, she's in there. We're not letting her go. She has not had a baby. And she won't let us
examine her. Or...
I was going to say an inspection. That's not the right word. Examine her is the word I'm after.
That'll do.
Right. She won't let them know. But they've been able to check her HCG levels and an ultrasound, which confirmed that not only is she not pregnant, she doesn't have a uterus, and she's refusing the physical exam. And it's only when the police arrive and say, right, what's going on? You've got to whatever else.
Spread them.
A guy walks in, like a guy. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. A doctor walks in.
Gynecologist.
And then they show him.
A random guy walks in off the street and they say, spread him.
OBGYN, as they
An
call him in the US.
OBGYN, yeah.
And he's in and he's out and he walks out and he's like, that
It's a
woman
hard
has
no
not given
from
birth.
me.
Woman has not had
It's
a
not given
baby.
birth. And so then they show the police sitting down next to her with going, enough of this. Like, what have you done? What's going on? I think anyway. So she's
Well, I
then
just killed a woman
arrested.
and a baby.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
That's sick.
So yes, it is sick. It's very sick. Autopsy reports later showed that Reagan had sustained 113 sharp force injuries, 15 stab wounds and 98 incised wounds and 39 blunt force injuries. Just went nuts.
Just belted her,
The
belted
medical
her,
examiner
belted her,
testified that
stabbed her,
two of the
yeah.
knife wounds perforated her jugular and
Jesus.
some were deep enough to reach
Jesus.
the bone, and the blunt force injuries likely inflicted with a hammer resulting in both a broken nose and 5
Fucking
skull
hell.
fractures.
And this is her friend.
Yep.
The cause of death of the baby, the homicide from traumatic extraction from the uterus with both sharp and blunt force injuries. They determined that the baby died to traumatic extraction from her mother's uterus, and further ruled the baby's death was also a homicide.
Yes, it was. She shouldn't have been trying to
They
take
also
it out.
stated that there were bruises on the baby's scalp and on the umbilical cord, meaning that some of the blows inflicted on Reagan, the mother, her abdomen had also landed on the baby. Oh, my God. Possibly been from pull or squeeze during the extraction. So, Taylor Parker is arrested on suspicion of murdering both Reagan Simmons Hancock and her unborn child. Parker agreed to be extradited back to Texas to face charges. So she's returned and she's booked into the Bi-State Detention Center. And this is where I grabbed a sheet off the printer because I wanted to print it out. She was charged with capital murder, and kidnapping. And I just wanted to sort of give you an idea of the difference between...
Is capital murder with a capital M or the whole word?
It's all uppercase, yeah. Murder is the unlawful killing of a human being. Capital murder is a specific, highly aggravated category of murder that includes special circumstances qualifying it for the death penalty or mandatory life in prison without parole. The distinctions between the two deepen heavily on local jurisdiction, so that it does differ from state to state, so that's why it matters. And it sort of says here, potential penalties. Regular murder generally carries sentences such as years to life in prison with the possibility of parole. Capital murder is reserved for crimes deemed so heinous that they are eligible for the death penalty.
Heinous.
Heinous.
Yes.
Heinous.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
absolutely. So death
yeah.
penalty.
So
It's
on
pretty
December,
heinous. I mean,
it's very heinous. So on December 11th,
it's also so
about-
pointless. Like the baby
Yes.
didn't even
That's
make
what
it.
I'd-
It's not even like she was trying to save the baby. It was just, I'll bring a dead baby here to prove that I was pregnant.
It's so
But
It doesn't
even
really
if-
matter what like if
Even if it did
bleh.
survive, no one was falling for it.
No, it's just insane. It's
What happened
literally
to that
insane.
pink alert? That didn't work very well, did it?
Well, it worked
maybe
where
the-
they were, but didn't know that she was
yeah.
going to go out and
Different
murder someone for a
place, yeah.
baby. That's a different thing. What this is called is fetal abduction, and it's like it has its own category of crime.
where you steal
Yeah.
a baby before it's born.
And
Well,
yes, from the mother. And
Yeah.
so fetal abduction, also known as fetal kidnapping or cesarean kidnapping, oh God,
Gross.
is an extremely rare and
Ugh.
brutal crime in which a perpetrator assaults a pregnant woman, often murdering her, and extracts the fetus to claim the baby as her own. The phenomenon is characterized by
I'd say
highly
their own.
calculated methods
Mm.
and distinct criminal stages. The modus operandi. Perpetrators, who are typically females between 19 and 40, follow a recognizable pattern of entrapment. 1. Deception. The abductor often fakes her own pregnancy to deceive loved ones and maintain a relationship with a partner or family. 2.
No.
Targeting. Perpetrators befriend unsuspecting pregnant women, sometimes using social media to track local pregnancies. 3. Assault. The victim is usually lured to a private location or attacked, incapacitated, and subjected to a crude, non-medical cesarean section. And the motivations, forensic psychologists and criminologists, such as those for the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, note that this crime is rarely a sudden maternal urge run amok. Instead, perpetrators typically exhibit extreme narcissism, grandiose delusions, and the traits of a con artist. The primary goal is usually to trap a partner, salvage a relationship, or fulfill a desperate need for attention by producing a baby.
Does it ever work?
Tick, tick, tick.
It is a very good point. There's a list of ones that have happened. Like it's a fairly. When I say it's not a fairly recent phenomenon, probably happened more prevalently in the past.
Yeah.
But in terms of it being documented, it's only really sort of been documented the last, 20, 30 years, really.
I've heard of other cases, not this one, but I've heard of other cases.
I can imagine 1,000
another one
years
that's been in
ago.
Texas. Yeah.
But nowadays.
Right, so I'm just going to go quickly on to the trial and where it's ended up. So I don't have to go into much detail because they never tried to disprove that she was guilty. It wasn't about that. It was just whether or not she was going to get the death penalty. Yes, correct.
Insanity versus not.
So on December 11, 2020, she's formally indicted for kidnapping, capital murder. On January 22, it's announced by the district attorney of Bowie County where they were that they would seek the death penalty against her. Under Texas law, the penalties for the offence of capital murder are either life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. On March 4, 2021, she's indicted on a second count of capital murder for the death of the victim's daughter.
Yeah.
And she goes to trial in September 2022. During her opening statements, Assistant District Attorney Kelly Cruz submitted that Parker had a motive to kill the victim and proceed in the plot itself. She also conducted a sophisticated scheme to dupe her boyfriend and many others that she was pregnant, despite her inability to do so, having had her hysterectomy. Furthermore, the prosecution also brought forward evidence of Parker's past online searches on how to deliver a baby preterm at 35 weeks, also to fake her pregnancy, which further indicted the premeditation of planning to murder Reagan. On October 3rd, 2022, Parker was found guilty of murder, capital murder, and kidnapping by a jury in about an hour of deliberation. And emphasised that she is a danger to society.
100%.
The defence argued against the death sentence and requested life without parole for Parker on the grounds of diminished responsibility at the time of the offence. In 2022, she was sentenced to death by the trial court upon the jury's unanimous recommendation for capital punishment. And then she has appealed. She appealed in 2025. The first appeal was rejected. In 2026, Taylor Parker filed for an appeal for the review of her death sentence. But in May this year, the US Supreme Court denied her appeal against her death sentence. So she is one of 7 women in Texas on death row.
On death row,
and it will be by lethal injection.
Injection.
Yeah. And as of 2026, she obviously remains incarcerated on death row in Patrick O'Daniel Unit. And that is the story of Taylor Parker. And
could you imagine being the boyfriend?
Well, this is the thing that I had to come to at the very end, was it's about this reflection. What people, and he says, his mum now says, people won't even look at him. He's been shunned because people are like, you chose not to see so many red flags. And a woman has been murdered as a result of it.
Victim shaming.
Whole bunch of people chose to not pay attention to it. Or just to question it on the side and not confront it directly.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it all his responsibility?
No.
The clinic itself knew she wasn't capable of having a baby.
The clinic, I'm surprised they talked.
Why didn't they go to the police?
Don't you find that odd? That they are being interviewed in this documentary, they're saying all that. I'm like, oh my God, if you did a code pink, did you notify the police, and were they able to go,
the police
let's go and check on this
no
woman?
crime had taken place and therefore we couldn't do anything. It's the same argument against domestic abuse, right? Like, oh, well, if he hasn't killed you yet, just wait till he kills you and then
but
if
you're a therapist and you believe that someone is going to do harm to somebody else, you're obliged to report it. And I think
would you have thought?
I think Code Pink needs to be bulked up. Well, if they're talking about stealing a baby, yes.
Stealing, but not necessarily cutting a person and extracting
well, you wouldn't rule that out.
And
I think Code Pink needs to be beefed up so that it includes notifying the police.
And what did you call it? Gestational kidnapping or something, Shay? What was
fetal
it called?
abduction.
Thank you.
Fetal abduction.
Oh, cesarean.
Gestational kidnapping.
Sorry, there were 3 names for it, wasn't there? Fetal
Womb
kidnapping,
invasion.
cesarean kidnapping.
Fucking hell.
Fetal abduction.
How
It's a
revolting.
Isn't
lot,
it
isn't it?
shocking? And honestly, this family, the mum, Miss Jessica, oh my God, they're the sweetest people.
Poor Miss
And her
Jessica.
sister and all of that. Her sister's interviewed, like they were bridesmaids and whatever. And they were like, it was just, she was such a lovely girl. It was the most spectacular day of the wedding. The photos capture all these beautiful moments. She was
You would have
wonderful
thought
until
the
she
person
wasn't.
behind the camera who took those photos, right? You know, you like to think that people who are
Yes.
photographers are seeing not just like the composition of the photo, but they're
No.
like, oh, isn't this lovely? I'm going to capture these intimate moments and these families.
And I
What a
think she
privilege
did
it
at that
is for
point.
me.
But then her
Oh,
life
but I'm
had
going to
changed.
steal your baby 5 minutes later.
but
But it
that
wasn't
all
long
happens
later.
at- Well,
But
no, it was a while later.
it feels like the whole time period from go to
The
woe
whole
is
thing is
fast,
14
though.
months. The whole thing is 14 months from start to finish. She meets him in the summer and it's all over by October the following year.
When I
It's
lived
a
in the UK,
lot.
I remember saying the
It is
expression
a
go
lot.
to
It's
woe.
the speed, right? That it's all happening. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why with
Yeah.
him, he's like, it just kept moving at such a pace. And I was working so hard and I wasn't there. I didn't have time to sit with my thoughts. I just kept letting
didn't
it
have time
go.
to
And I didn't
think
really
about
know.
it.
I didn't want to kind of deal with it, I guess.
I was slightly, it was all good at the beginning. Then it turned out she was a bit crazy. And I just figured I'd get to it.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, she's killed someone and
Neck minute.
killed a
Murdered
baby.
baby.
Neck minute.
But I
yeah.
think
Neck minute.
that's that strategy though of I think I'm going to lose him. I'll tell him we're pregnant.
But that's the love bombing as well. It's all that shoving this shit at you constantly so you can't stop to think about whether or not this is the right
Yeah,
direction
but
we're going in.
the
Yeah.
decision to say that you're pregnant changes a lot. You know.
Oh, really? Because, sorry, the decision to buy a truck you couldn't afford said a lot to me.
No, but it's incredibly
And the car was
manipulative to
being-
use that bit. So he's getting
That's at
suspicious
the end,
of
right?
the
But
truck.
come
He's getting
on, the
suspicious
house,
of
the
that.
whole thing.
Yeah. So people
Yeah.
are getting suspicious of that. So then she goes and throws that in. Like she's foul.
Tell
Ugh.
us all the
This
time.
That's what I was saying. It's exactly that.
I mean, yes, lots of women have over the years used a pregnancy to try. And in this day and age, I don't know why they bother because it doesn't necessarily mean the bloke will say anything other than,
No.
that's interesting.
Thanks. Bye.
Is it mine?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not really quite sure why they bother. But yes, there was a time where societally men would have been pressured to do the right thing and marry the woman, etc., and be the father to the kid. But in this case, it's just bizarre.
It's like I don't even know how she or if she fell that in love with him because
I think
it's
she's just
happened so
obsessive.
quickly. I think so. I think she's needy as
Bit on the
fuck.
nutsticle side.
That's why I wanted to know about
She's
her
unwell.
priors.
I think she's unwell. I think she probably became increasingly unwell. And that's why I asked the question early in the story when her girlfriend of the old friend group got pregnant and she started to be weird about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that is where we start to see that there's something not
She's-
right.
Yeah.
NQR,
Oh.
as they would say, not quite right.
Jesus.
And then it just escalates and escalates and escalates. And, you know, her whole, like I've looked at the photos while you're talking about her. She could have just stopped at being like the best farmer wants a wife. Yeah. That would have done it.
Yeah.
And there's no children. She's not interested in children. The child was
No.
solely to prove she was pregnant, and the pregnancy was solely to trap him.
Yep.
There was nothing
It's
really
so
about
weird
children.
that
She didn't
someone
really want
who's
children.
had children. No, someone
The-
that's had her own children, two of her own children, who she had next to nothing to do with. It's
Do you-
just bizarre.
Do you
Well, it's
think
perhaps that lack of maternal instinct that made it possible for her to cut a baby out of someone else. Because
Honestly, I wasn't
if
expecting.
you'd had children, you would never do that, would you?
I
but
don't
that
think it's
fetal
about
abduction-
the baby.
No, not at all. It's about entrapment, really, isn't it?
This is one of those cases where there's actually no problem with anything going on, and then she just
There's
starts
no
to
reason
do all
to start
these.
this. That's right,
Like,
yeah.
she had him. It wasn't like she was trying to impress
Yep.
him to get him. And by all accounts, they were all really happy.
Yeah, it was all fine to start with, so there was no need for it to
What did
go
you
this
get
way.
out of any of that?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
What?
it is. It's knuck and
Life's
farts.
hard enough. It is
It's
knuck
terrible,
and
isn't it?
farts.
I mean, I know that they tried to defend her on diminished responsibility, and I would say,
Well, they hardly did. They didn't. It was kind of, I don't know. They were just going, well, can we just she'd done it. So can we just not go for death penalty? And other, she can stay in jail for
Well,
forever.
diminished responsibility
Yeah.
is basically an insanity plea
I know.
nowadays. And I would say there is grounds for it. Nothing she's done is sane.
No. But I did find, like, watching it. So the build-up is like, oh, what's she going to do? Well, she's faking this. So, like, as the viewer, you're going, yeah. Another one, I'm sort of like, we have seen some of these traits happen before and things that people believe. It's like, and it's only when it gets that last bit where, and everyone's going, what's she going to do? What's she going to do? Like, they're a little bit nervous, but I don't think anyone thought she was about to go and murder someone. Like, no, everyone's like, this is going to be a bit embarrassing, isn't it? You can literally see them all sort of like frothing at the mouth thinking, this is going to be interesting. And it goes from that. And that was like when I don't think, like, I couldn't breathe because when I had seen I didn't know what was going to happen. I hadn't read about it. I hadn't seen, and in the trailer, you didn't say what happened. I was like, she's an idiot. She's going to do something. Obviously, it's a crime. And then just the violence and just the horror of thinking what that poor Reagan went through is like, what? And that was when I realized, and it must have cut to the next thing. And I was like, oh, stop breathing. I was just like, oh my God, that escalated.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's hard to see even an inkling of understanding as to why she would do anything that extreme. Like, there's just...
Apart from she's insane.
Nah.
What do you mean, nah? I mean, she is. She's in some kind of delusion.
Super manipulative, and I think she's controlling. And I think there's a whole lot of things that don't mean insane. I don't think you plan that sort of thing for 9 months.
The delusions of grandeur,
insane.
The narcissism, all that kind of stuff. That totally adds up to me. When I read that description, I only sort of looked at that sort of this morning and I went, oh my God, that's exactly who she is. This is actually a playbook for this type of crime.
Yeah.
She's done everything in the correct order for those reasons.
Tick, tick,
and
tick,
she
like
just and I was like, oh my God, there's not anything that you go, oh, that wasn't quite right. It was like, oh my God, this could have been written.
They wrote it about her.
Yes. I was shocked.
They came up with a definition after this.
That is it.
Wow.
Who would you like to sentence?
Oh, I mean, only
sorry,
her,
I'm
I think.
Googling Taylor Parker photography. Is that hers?
That probably would be, yeah. If she does sort of like, I
crime
think she
scenes,
babies and
6
weddings,
years ago,
engagements.
I admitted to someone yesterday, I know I've kept my pricing too low because people take my work for granted. And today that's over because I'm worth more. This was 6 years ago,
God.
it could well be her.
Oh, yeah. Well, she would have been pregnant this time 6 years ago. She's probably just bought the belly from Amazon and that sort of stuff. the stuff that's available for people to do. Oh my God, you can buy stuff that makes you look like you're pregnant, like chemicals and stuff. There's a whole thing.
Oh, I
There's
know
like a
you
whole
can do
industry.
that.
Yes,
I
to
was
trick
aware
people.
of that. Yeah, I was aware of that because I've seen it in a film and I Googled, is this true? And yes, I knew it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about sentencing? I know she's got the death penalty, but...
I think she's the only
What would you
problem in
do?
this whole story. Like, it's hard to look at anyone
That's
else
true,
and go,
actually,
oh, but
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
just all
No
her.
one else. Yeah, I agree. There's no
I
one else.
wouldn't mind
that
a bit
needs
of
to...
a death by hog.
Oh. I think if they threw her into one of those cages with all of that, they were massive.
Yeah, the wild hogs that
hogs,
they've trapped.
They like our... I mean, they're like
wild
our
boar.
Wild
boars,
boar,
aren't they?
probably.
I presume so. I don't know enough about it
Yeah.
yet.
Razorbacks. Here he goes, he's doing it. That's it. Chuck her in a thing with some Razorbacks.
That's a movie,
yes.
isn't it?
It
Yes,
is,
it's called
yeah,
Razorback.
yeah.
Yeah, it's about an
Yeah.
insane pig
Well, there you
that
go.
kills people. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. But
Yeah, I
maybe
think-
by slow motion one, so it happens slowly. Because I don't want it to be quick. She's just awful. Everything about her.
Oh, she's made some pretty bad decisions.
I mean, not everything about her. Apparently her social media stuff is quite good, but
Sorry.
everything else.
I was possibly selling that a little hard, was I?
No, I think it's I'm validating that yes, she's got that skill.
In terms of Wade, I mean, you could argue, was he innocent of anything? Well, he didn't kill. He didn't kill the
No,
woman,
he didn't
and
kill
he didn't
anything.
kill
He
He was
Reagan.
innocent of everything, I think.
Exactly. He was just sort of ignorant to it all, I guess.
He was probably in love.
Oh, I don't know. He cared for her, apparently.
Yeah.
I think he got in too deep to something and he didn't know how to get out of it. He had this crazy girlfriend and he was like, oh, God, I'll worry about that when I've got time to worry about it. But right now I've got to go catch me some hogs.
Yeah.
So I think he was just very manly in that respect, you know, like, and
He was busy.
probably quite straight up, you know, straightforward kind of guy and just said, oh, she'll get over me soon enough and go away. Terrible. What an awful story.
Sorry, but yes.
I think you're right. Maybe Razorbacks is the best
Yeah.
sentence for her, I think.
It's hard to know what to say because it's such a, you know, with a baby being, I don't know, you don't want to be
But it was so
too frivolous,
violent.
but it's revolting. I know. She's got what she deserves, I think, being
in the real courts. And, it's so violent and so unnecessary. It was all so totally unnecessary.
And the thing was, he didn't want a kid. And he didn't want a kid.
Oh, you're shitting me.
She says that to somebody else. I don't think he even wants a kid. And he was like, I wasn't bothered because it was all just too much happening too quickly.
It was all about her trying to lock him in.
So he was like, okay. And then he was like going to go along with it, of course. But he wasn't happy. He wasn't unhappy, but he wasn't happy. He was panicked. And the mum said it was kind of just all too much.
It was just a trap.
And it's
all about
very
fast,
everything was like, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. And it's like, oh, we're not going to have that amazing property that we're going to, but we are going to have a baby. Oh, great. I was looking more forward to the $8 million, I think.
Because I've got a sentence for her. Let's go out into the wilds of Alaska or the Yukon or something, because it's another thing I like to watch. And they tap trees, right? They go tap a tree. Let's tap a tree.
What does that mean?
Well, what we'll do is we'll get a big hole. We'll dig a big pit at the bottom of this tree without hurting any of the tree itself. And we're going to tap a maple or we'll tap there's another tree that they do this to. It literally means putting a tap in and the sap drips out. Yeah. She's a syrup queen, right? She's gonna inherit some fucking syrup. I'll give her some syrup. We'll put her in the bottom of a deep pit at the bottom of a syrup tree and we'll tap the tree and it'll take a long time, but eventually she'll drown in that syrup or die of starvation, one or the other.
Can it be hog-attracting syrup?
If you like, but
once she's waist deep.
It'd be a bit like the Romy and Michelle's high school reunion if they had drowned in the glue that the Post-its was stuck on with as a kind of retribution for lying about being the people who invented that. Similarly, I just want to use the poetic justice of the syrup inheritance to sentence her. Yeah,
nice.
There we go.
I've got one little vision about her going into prison and there's a cellmate and she walks in and the cellmate goes, so what are you in here for?
Oh,
God. How do you fucking explain that?
I killed a woman.
How long have you got? 26 years? Oh, well, let's talk then.
That's interesting.
Well,
she needs someone who's in jail with who's a do-it-yourself surgeon as well, I think. She needs someone who's quite partial to a bit of surgery.
People who kill babies don't fare well and do things to children don't fare well in prison, as I understand it.
And why did you do it?
No good reason.
No, like literally no good reason.
No good reason whatsoever. Did you intend to kill the child? Collateral damage.
Like
I just needed to prove that there would be a baby. I said I'll bring a baby home.
Yeah, so many people would go, he beat me or he, pushed me too far or whatever. Oh, he loved me. He didn't even threaten to leave me. I just completely fucked it up.
He cared for me, but he didn't threaten to leave me. He was quite happy to go along with everything, even after I'd proved that I was fraudulent and I'd tried to buy a car for $100,000 and it got repossessed and I lied about a lot. Like, he still didn't chuck me, but it wasn't enough. I needed to really seal the deal by murdering a woman and her child. Far out.
And now you're on death row and what did you get out of it?
But I don't deserve that. I'm going to appeal it. Come on. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big proponent of the death penalty, but I think...
No, I'm not either.
No, it's hard, isn't it?
I feel in this situation,
I just prefer to say nothing about it. Yeah, I just won't tackle that part of it. It just is what it is. That's what they've been given. I don't want to sort of talk to that, but I mean...
My thing about the death penalty is that it's a disgusting thing when someone says I'm innocent to the time they die and then 10 years later you find out they were innocent.
They were innocent, yeah.
But I don't think there's any question with her that she did this.
spot on. For me, the thing I most don't like about the death penalty, other than the fact that, someone is killing someone, is that the risk of them being found out to be innocent later. That is off the table here.
Yeah, that is true, actually.
Posthumous acquittal. Well, cheers, thanks a lot. I'm dead. It doesn't really help me.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Fucking great, yeah. It's like when you get a Nobel Peace Prize when you're dead. Great.
Yeah,
It didn't do me any good while I was alive.
That?
Yeah, great. Brilliant. Oh, cheers. Thanks for noticing I was good 100 years later.
I'm not convinced.
She did admit it, and I mean, obviously, but they connected with it was all there. But she also did say that.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah. What else? What's the problem?
What of it?
You would have done it too if it happened to you. No one. Most people know. Like, really, no.
100% not.
Right. All right. Well, Swanny, that was gross, and shocking, but, this is still the spectrum of crime, isn't it? We've got to tell them all.
You're in the right crowd.
Well done. Quite weird, quite shocking, and as we say every week, miss you already.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Jesus.
That one fucked up.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.